We got Andrea Lee back here on the program. Who's going to be fighting Ashlee Evans-Smith at UFC on ESPN on February 17th. Andrea, how are you today?
Great, thank you.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, is Saturday like a rest day for you? Because it's funny, I've been talking to a lot of fighters on this card, and because this fight's on a Sunday, a lot of fighters for this card are having the rest day on Saturday. Is that the case for you?
No, I trained today. I did. I'm going to train next Saturday as well. My training session was long and grueling, but it wasn't terrible. It's only one training session today, and I'm done for the rest of the day. So.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It's always good to talk to you. And obviously, 2018, could have been a better year for you. We know about all the other stuff, but of course, your fight against Jessica Rose Clark didn't end up happening. She had some complications due to a weight cut. During that fight week, when did you actually find out that the fight was off? Because I know sometimes there's always some miscommunication with when a fight is actually pulled from the card.
Well, I had already made weight on the first scale, and they wrote me down and they got me in line. So I was in the room and I was waiting, to get in line to go to the official scale, and that was when Sean Shelby came and pulled me out. And I thought he was just going to tell me that she was struggling with weight and that I was going to, get a part of her purse or something like that. And then he told me that the bad news, and so yeah. It happened right before I got on the official scale, but they still paid me some, so that's great.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That's good. They paid you because obviously, you made the weight and, you made all the sacrifices for the camp. Did you talk to Jess after the fight when that all happened? Like, have you spoken to her since that all went down?
We spoke, she sent me a message apologizing, and I responded, and, we're fine. We're cordial. There's no point in causing
dwelling on it. No, that's good. I mean, you don't strike me as someone that would be like, super, like, you gotta, things happen, right? It's kind of the best way to put it.
Yeah, it happens, It was fun, and then it wasn't funny. Oh, I did cry.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's understandable because, I mean, you put a lot into that camp. There's a lot going into the fight as well. So, obviously that stuff's going to happen. But let's talk about the present. Lauren Murphy is out. You are in. You are fighting Ashlee Evans-Smith. When did you find out about this fight? Because I want to say I saw something about this. I want to say in December. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was literally maybe the next week after that fight, I got word from Mick Maynard. He reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to take a fight in February. So it was definitely in December, but I want to say it was a week later, maybe two. Maybe it wasn't.
And refresh my memory, was this card was always on the Phoenix card, or was this one of the ones that was on 233 that got moved?
I think it was always on the Phoenix card. I think.
Good. Okay. Well, because the dates would be different, because 233 would have taken place last weekend, which was the weekend of the 26th. So obviously, if it was in February, then you probably were on that card, so that makes sense. Let's talk about Ashlee Evans-Smith, though. How do you feel like you match up against her in this fight?
I think it's a great matchup. I feel like, as always, and I always say I'm very well-rounded, which, I believe in that to be true. And I'm very confident everywhere, in all aspects of my game. She's a very good wrestler, so I know that she's got a background in wrestling, so I know that's something that maybe I need to be worried about, maybe a little bit. But I'm confident enough, to think that I could maybe keep it standing if I want to take her down. If I see the opportunity, I'm going to take her down.
Now, for your last fight, I know you were training at MMA Gold with Aspen Ladd, and I know for this camp, you're actually training closer to home with Tim Crater. How's that going, and who are some of the people you get to work with?
It's great, working with Tim Crater and everybody up here at Gladiator Academy. In my last fight camp, I also worked with Tim Crater here at Gladiator, so I just kind of did half my training here and half my training there, and then I came back to Louisiana. So honestly, I'm still trying to remember everybody's names. So there's, I have so many different training partners, all the guys, and the girls. Everyone's so awesome and really, really inviting. They've accepted me, so I really appreciate that. And I've been getting a lot of amazing work. Dustin Poirier is also here, but right now he's in ATT. Yeah, he's at ATT.
Okay, well, that's still good. And the cut's going well, I imagine. You're always someone who makes weight and everything, so I imagine that process started pretty much when you found out about this fight.
Yes, it did. my whole thoughts on eating changed as soon as I realized that I was going to be fighting in a couple of weeks. Well, to me, it seemed like a couple of weeks.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Tim Crater, Jim West, who's also Aspen Ladd's coach and significant other, and then Eric Sands, who is a longtime training partner of mine, and has also worked with me some with my wrestling, and he's going to be coming, and helping.
Excellent. And how do you see this fight playing out on February 17th?
With my hand getting raised.
Well, obviously you wouldn't have taken the fight, but how do you see it unfolding?
See it unfolding. I think it's gonna start fast. I managed to start every fight fast, and I don't think that the speed is gonna slow down any. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of pressure. We're gonna be going forward the whole time. I think that she's gonna try to clinch with me a lot. And I'm gonna need to try to keep my range and keep my distance and push her off as much as I can, and stay in her face, try to back her up without getting clinched up. But I feel confident in my own clinch game, so if it does end up in the clinch, I feel good there.
How close do you feel like you will be to a title shot if you get a win here, especially a finish? Because again, this is a pretty wide open division at the moment.
It is wide open, but I'm not even in the top 10 yet. I'm almost there. I'm about to break through. I got to win this fight, and then I should be able to break into the top 10.
Yeah, and I imagine that the plan this year is to just keep as active as possible, really get your name out there. Because, I mean, for those of us in the know, I mean, we watch you in LFA and all the work you did there, but the UFC is a different beast. You got to kind of, keep the momentum going so people are familiar with you and everything.
Yes. I have to keep the momentum going. I have to keep on winning. I can't have any setbacks. So I am always thinking about fighting for the title and whoever has the title, which is obviously Valentina. So I'm obviously, whenever I'm training, I think about Valentina, but I'm not like getting ahead of myself. It's one fight at a time. So right now it's Ashlee Evans-Smith, and then my next fight is obviously not going to be for a title. So my next fight's going to be whoever my next opponent is. Obviously, it's not going to be a title shot.
I mentioned LFA there where you were the champion. Someone who fought in LFA who's in the UFC now is Mackenzie Dern, and I see that she's going to be staying at strawweight. What were your thoughts on that? Because she's missed weight a few times.
Hasn't she missed weight like every time?
Yeah, well, and especially you and someone that you trained with last time, Amanda Cooper, in her fight, I think she missed weight by like 7 pounds or something.
I'm not sure how that's even going to work. I don't know how many chances you get to try to make weight in the UFC before they make you move up. I think that if she misses weight again, they'll probably make her go up to 125.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I know she's working with the PI and all that, and kind of going in the opposite direction. Someone who I believe you fought at the same time she did, but Macy Barber, who's in LFA as well, she's actually moving up to 125. What are your thoughts on that? You guys might square off someday, two fellow LFA alums.
Yeah, we might. I didn't even know that. Yeah, so that would be exciting.
And go ahead.
I sat next to her she was at the fight that I was supposed to fight in Milwaukee. So, we sat next to each other. I got to talk to her for a second. But no, I didn't know that she was moving up. So yeah, who knows? We probably will.
And it's weird how, the span of a year can change because, Mackenzie's in the UFC, Macy is, and Sabina Mazo as well, who, won your title after you left. She's now in the UFC, and it looks like she's going to be making her debut coming up here pretty soon. How cool is that? You guys repping LFA pretty well.
Yeah, that's amazing. So all of the awesome flyweight and all the 115ers and stuff that were in the LFA are all soon to be moving to the UFC. So that's great. Looks like the UFC's sucking all them LFAers up. LFA's doing a good job.
they are. No, well, if you look at it across the board, they have been signing, like the UFC's been signing more fighters from there than I think any other promotion. Like they just had, who is it? Kyle Stewart, who fought on the Brooklyn card. He was for LFA. So they're really, if you're an up and coming fighter, you should probably fight for LFA. That's probably a good idea.
I tell fighters that all the time. Like it's like a big feeder into the UFC, and LFA, it's not like a small promotion. I mean, like it's being watched. If you want to get into the UFC, LFA is one of the promotions that you probably want to get on.
I agree. And this is one of the cards you got to tune into. You're gonna be making history. This is the first UFC card on ESPN, the regular ESPN, not the app. So this is coming up here February 17th.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly. Andrea, always appreciate you taking the time. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Andrea KGB Lee. Also Facebook page Andrea KGB Lee. Thank you to Victory Beef, also Ultimate Fitness Foods, and Casa and Spice Company. Thank you guys for all of your help. Thank you, Tim Crater. Thank you, Gladiator. Thank you, Jim West. Everybody, I appreciate all the work you're moving.